I'm Amy Zellmer, author, activist, and unapologetic truth teller. This is a space for creators and activists who stand in opposition to MAGA extremisms and the forces trying to silence us. If you are someone who wants to resist injustice, this podcast is for you. Here we say the quiet parts out loud. No censorship, no sugarcoating, just raw, unfiltered truth. So let's get into it. Today, my guest is the Soy Pill, and we're talking about how to reach different MAGA demographics. The Soy Pill is a progressive video essayist on YouTube focused on content that explains left wing topics to people across the political spectrum. He also likes to work out, but mostly just gets mad and complains on the internet. So, welcome, Soy. Happy to have you here.
Hi, happy to be here. I love your intro. You've like stolen back the language from the far right conspiracy theorists who are all like,
Mm,
I'm the truth teller. I say the quiet part out loud. I'm not afraid, but you're saying it for like progressive nice politics. It's really fun.
thank you. Yeah, and it it's just gotten so interesting. Um, like, how did we get here, right? Where like facts and science and truth um are subjective. Like I just, I follow a lot of right-wing creators because that's where I'm getting the content to stitch for my content. And like they talk about how we lie and how we don't ever believe the facts when we present it with them. And it's like, am I living in an
Mhm.
alternate universe? Like, how did we get here?
Yeah, I always wondered about that. I think like, and maybe you can speak more to this because before this era, like before 2016, I was mostly like a younger college student, high school, so I wasn't super tuned into news. If anything, I got most of my news from watching like Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert, which is not like,
Right.
they're informative insofar as if I didn't know anything, they'll expose me to like who's Anthony Weiner? Like why would a 14-year-old know who the hell Anthony Weiner is?
Oh my
They would
God,
just
that's a
laugh at the
name from the
name, right? But no,
past.
it's like, okay, now I'm more tuned in than my peers just because I'm watching this silly comedy show. But what's crazy is it seemed like there was the less skepticism for the establishment, obviously, and therefore there was a more cohesive narrative where everyone's just like, yeah, racism is bad. That makes sense. And they didn't you don't ever have to think about that. It was just like, yeah, if you treat someone because of their skin different, you're a bad person. And then you get the internet, it blows up and more people start using it, and they like fester in these little communities where it's like, well, I've been hanging out with my 100 little freaks who all tell me about like race science and why actually racism's cool and why actually like this is all the cool stuff. And then you expose that to like a normal person, and they've never heard any of it, and they're just like, how do I even like counter this insane, like deeply seated, like I've read 100 books on how to be racist narrative, because that's just not something you deal with on the daily basis. And I think that's just shattered everyone's brains, and now everyone can just exist in their own little bubble. There is no establishment to trust. There is no cohesive reality. Um, and the only way to do what we do is to like go on the internet and go viral and try to like jump into those other little bubbles and puncture them and be like, hey, stop listening to this guy. He's insane. So yeah, it's real scary, but I don't know. I mean, can you speak on that, like as someone who have you been politically tuned in for a while, or did you just start during like the Trump era? Because I would assume you've seen this kind of progress in a much more
Yeah.
visceral way.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely became more involved when Trump the first time. Um but also like, looking back, I mean, were you even alive during 9/11? You were
Yes,
probably
I
a
watched
wee,
it on
wee
TV.
little lad. Um but like we didn't have the internet existed, but not what it is today. And we didn't have Fox News or, what Fox News is today. Like you had to almost take the news outlets at their word. You got
Yeah,
your news from watching your ABC, NBC, reading the newspapers, and pretty much across the board, they were similar, right? Like they might have a slightly different filter that they're looking through if they're Republican or Democrat, but like you could have a conversation. Like, I could be good friends with a Republican and have a good conversation with them and still be friends with them at the end of the day. Where now it's just like, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, it's worse than that, really, right? Because it's not
yeah,
just like before. It would be like, I've got Mr. Balanced on the Balanced News Show. On my right is Mr. Right Wing, and on my left is Mr. Left Wing. And now it's, hello, I'm right wing politician. Democrats eat babies and are evil, and they stab them in their sleep. And the left winger is like, oh, can we talk? And it's like, no, we can't talk. You're going to hell, and you're a terrible human being. And it's like, okay, well, and don't get me wrong, the left will throw that at the right too for good or bad reasons. And it's just like, okay, this is not like a conversation anymore. It feels like this like cultural battle every single day.
like, I think a good example, because it just happened, um, is the whole RFK and Tylenol causes autism.
Hmm.
And immediately, all the right wing creators are like, the left won't listen. There's all this new research proving blah, blah. And it's like, no, it's not new research.
Yeah, it was
It's
all
the
old
same
stuff.
research. Two, it's explicitly says there's there's only correlation, no
Yeah, there's a
causation.
potential correlation here that's been explored but not really proven, and the president announcing it like, "We did it. We've solved autism, everyone," and he can't even
Yes.
pronounce acetaminophen.
Yes. A
Like,
C, a C, S, acid,
acida, is that right? No, it's not.
and then, oh, that was good.
Oh,
And
thanks.
then I haven't even looked yet this morning. I just saw the headline about early age circumcision causes autism. Did you see
No
that
way,
one?
really? That's
Okay.
what they're. How? Wait, how could that
It was on
possibly?
Aaron Parnas. I saw his thing and I was like, I didn't even have a chance to look at it. I was like, RFK announced today,
Is that why the
apparently.
Jewish population is so much smarter? It's because they're all just tuned in with the numbers. They're just so good at financing because of all the circumcisions. That is that really what they're claiming? That is insane.
It's just, I'm just like, it's just so reckless, like for, and then the right creators are also like, oh, if if Kamala, had said, oh, no, it was because pregnant women were then showing, taking acetaminophen.
Hmm.
And it's like, well, if RFK said eating poop cause autism, would you start eating your poop? And then they made all these reels, eating
Hmm.
chocolate.
And,
And
and
it's
to be
like,
fair, it is
it's
silly to
so
just like
reckless.
be obstinate and just chug Tylenol while you're pregnant. Like maybe it's probably fine, but like it reminds me of just the people that just want to do the opposite of whatever authority says. It's like, oh, don't eat Tide Pods. Well, I'm gonna eat as many as I want, Mister Government. And it's like, well, wait, hold on, don't do that. But yeah, it's reckless and it's insane.
Smoking
And I
bath
don't know
salts.
if do you think it's like a distraction? Do you think it's like a um because here's the thing, RFK, as crazy as he is, he's right sometimes, right? So when he says we shouldn't have pharmaceutical commercials, I think that's right on the
Yes, I
money, right?
agree with him on that.
Every European who has ever been here on visiting our family, and they turn on the TV and they're like, "Oh my God, you're allowed to advertise drugs? That's insane. Your doctor should just know what's the best thing for you. You shouldn't
Yeah.
be able to bring that information to the doctor." So it's interesting how, yeah, this has been more recent, like do your own research. I know better than my doctor era. But even as 20 years ago, people were like, "Ooh, I saw an ad for this thing, and I'm gonna go tell my doctor about that." That's what it says at the end of all the ads, and that's wild. That's not how it should work at all.
Mm-mm.
So it's interesting as to whether or not RFK truly believes that Tylenol will stop autism if we ban it, or if it's a, all right, everyone, look at Tylenol. I'm just gonna say some
Go
crazy
look at
stuff so
Tylenol
you don't
now.
look at the Epstein stuff or whatever it is, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, Tylenol on their Twitter, and I don't know if it was real or not. I just saw a thing that Tylenol said, just clapped back with release the Epstein files.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I as much as I hate the internet in some ways, I love that every
Yes.
brand is like a
Yes.
person now. And it started, I don't know if you remember this, but it started with Wendy's Twitter. Wendy's would just tweet just
Yes.
weird out of pocket things. And now every company is like just like they're making like sex jokes and they're posting like clapbacks at celebrities, and it's like, where are we? What is happening? Like, did you know that Taco Bell and Walmart are having a feud right now? It's like, God damn it. Like, what is
I
going on?
know.
Actually,
I
have you seen the
know.
movie Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone?
Oh God, a long time ago.
It's one of the like few pieces of what I would consider conservative art
Is
that is
Sandra Bullock
good.
in that one too?
Yes, Sandra Bullock
Yeah.
is the love interest, and like it's a dystopian woke future where if you eat
Mm-hmm.
meat, like eating meat is illegal, and swearing gets you a fine, and
Yes.
violence is unheard of. But in this dystopian future, there was a franchise war where like I think it was literally like Taco Bell defeated the other fast food restaurants. I don't know if it was in financial war or like literal physical war, but now they're the only restaurant. But it feels like we're getting closer to, at the very least, not the woke future, but some dystopian
Mm-hmm.
post-capitalistic, late-stage
Mm-hmm.
capitalistic hellscape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just it is. It's very and like 1984, right? And Brave New World. I remember having to read those in college for my English class, and it's like we couldn't even fathom a world like that, right? And now it's like, oh, okay, we're inching a little bit closer to that.
No.
Um,
Well, to be fair, we could fathom them. That's why we wrote fiction about them. We were just like, and this is
true.
this is the warning, not the rule book. So please don't make the the 1984 world. And now we
Yes.
just immediately, it's not even 30, 40 years later. It's like Squid Games. That sounds fun. Let's do that, and they make a real Squid Game.
Yeah. It's wild. And I mean, so talking about demographics, right? And like your generation has kind of grown up in this really strange politic-scape, right? Where I've probably got a couple decades on you. And so like it's been very different, right? Like I didn't grow up with the internet, right?
Yeah.
Not till college did I have the internet. And we didn't have cell phones and have it.
Oh, she's frozen on my end.
And I remember a day when TVs went off the air at the end of the night and it was just static till, 6 the next morning.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm curious, like, like how that's so different for both of us. Like you're growing up with this culture, whereas like I haven't. And so it's super weird for me. It feels even more dystopian.
Yeah,
Um,
I have a unique experience here where I did grow up and I started using the internet probably around like 8 or 9, and obviously it existed when I was born in
mhm,
'96. But what I would describe as the difference between the internet being a tool and the internet being an
mhm.
everyday thing.
Yes.
So I want to say up until maybe 2013, nobody knew what a meme was. Like, that was not something you could go to anyone over the age of 20 and they would know what a meme is. They're just started in like the mid 2010s and past that to be those like advice animals. Like it would be like a little image macro of like a dog and then like the impact font on the top and be like, I had a good day today. It was like something like kind of weird and generic. And that slowly disseminated. And now everyone knows what they are. Your grandma knows what a meme
Mhm.
is. Your 4-year-old knows what a meme is. But like I had this unique experience where I was like an outsider in the same way that I don't know, obviously you remember people were bullied for like being nerds. They would be like, "Oh, you
Yeah.
like Star Wars? You
Yeah.
play D&D? Nerd, get in the locker." That's not really a thing anymore. Now there's like, communities, D&D is mainstream, Star Wars is mainstream, like that it's become more, the word is normie, and that's usually
Yes.
derogatory on the internet. But that I was one of those, oh, the internet is not for everyone. The internet is like this very small bubble. There's like, yeah, sure, I'm connected to Europeans and Australians and all that, but like we are our own little weird, freaky community. There's all this unregulated Wild West, horrible cartel beheading videos, and the Silk Road where drugs are being like smuggled across country lines, and Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin? And and then 2015, 2016, it starts to just like spread out, and everyone gets on the internet. And so I saw the internet as just a thing that kind of was, oh, let's go look up dumb stuff and then we go into the
Yeah.
real world. But now it's the real world. Now the president is tweeting. Now news
Yes.
is primarily gotten by people on Facebook, on Twitter. So it's weird because I guess in some ways I do have that same dichotomy that you did, where I kind of existed in a pre-internet world, or at least a world where the internet was not what it is today, and I
Hmm.
do miss it in some ways.
Hmm.
I don't know if I would trade being able to talk to my European friends in real time over video, or meeting you,
Right.
for having it that my grandma isn't sharing like white supremacist comics on accident, or on purpose. So it's hard to say. There's some trade-offs.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't like the aspect of the internet where all the benefits of like collaboration, creativity, that's all great. It has just increased a lot of people's lives. I would not be able to have my job if not for the internet.
Hmm. Right.
But I don't like what we were talking about before, where there aren't communities anymore in real life. It's very much been sequestered into I saw this word in a very funny way, where it's like if you had like a fetish for toasters or something in 2010, you would be a weirdo and you would never talk about it, and then you'd go and you'd have to interact in society. But now you can go on like r/toaster fetish, and you can hang out with the other 2,000 people that have a fetish for toasters,
Yes.
and you'll never ever feel like you're the odd one out. You are now you're the head moderator of toaster fetish, and actually it's good that you have a fetish for toasters, and not to kink shame, because that's actually sounds like one of the least harmful fetishes I've ever heard of, unless you like literally like it's you probably get electrocuted. Don't do that. But the point
Yeah.
being,
Yeah.
the point being, everyone is in their own little community. There is no dissent anymore, because you can go find the place where you will not find someone telling you that's wrong, you're wrong.
And that creates an echo chamber.
Yeah, those echo chambers, exactly.
Yes. And that's what's happening. And like I said, like I was saying before, like you watched the news, you read the newspaper, and we believed it to be factual. Now, nobody believes the news or the newspaper, and they will go find their truth on the internet, even though that might not be the truth.
Have you seen If Google Was a Guy, that like college humor sketch?
No.
It's essentially just like, what do people Google, and playing on that. But someone comes up and it's like, I think that vaccines cause autism, and Google is like, well, here's 40,000 studies that say that's not true, and I've got one that says it is. And she's like, takes the one
Yes.
and walks out, and it's like, great,
Yep.
cool. This is where we are now. Yeah, you
Exactly.
can just find whatever you
Yes.
want to be true. And what's crazy is, and I'm sure you remember this, and it's still a thing, but no one really recognizes or acknowledges it. News had standards. Like, you had to
Hmm.
be a journalist, you had to go to school
Yes.
for this, and you had to like you got fired if you did something like egregiously wrong. They would issue retractions, so it would be like, I read the paper every day, and then you get the new paper and it's like, oh, that thing I read yesterday wasn't true, and I'm gonna go tell my church about it. And now it's just like, oh,
Yep.
here's the headline, scroll past Twitter 2 seconds, I'm gonna internalize that, I'm gonna retweet it on Facebook, I'm never gonna read the article. If they ever retract it, I'll never hear about it. Or I'm just not even looking at that because it's from Mr. Newsman and he's evil. I'll listen to Truth Teller Guy, this 14-year-old who's in his basement somewhere, who has zero journalistic integrity, but he
Hmm.
talks the way I like. And yeah, we've just all kind of got insane.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it's very frustrating.
Yep. I was actually a journalism major.
Oh, okay.
Fun fact.
How did
Worked
how
for a
did that
newspaper.
develop into your media career, I guess, now that you're doing all this anti-MAGA Instagram stuff?
I guess it gave me some of the skill sets that I needed. Um I was a photographer for 30 years.
Mm.
I had a studio, and I have, how am I trying to say this? Like, I have an eye, obviously, for seeing things as a photographer, and like I can suss things out. Like, if I don't know if you noticed it at all when we were in Colorado, like I can stand back and suss things out, and I'm like, I can trust that person, I cannot trust that person. Like just visually, I can usually suss that out with body
Like you have good
language and everything.
situational awareness as a journalist, you
Mm-hmm.
mean? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that has all piled into helping me do what I do now.
Yeah.
And I mean, 20 years ago, if you said you'd be making a living as an Instagram creator, I mean, clearly it didn't exist back then. But
Yeah.
like, even 10 years ago, I'd have been like, whatever. So it's wild. It's been a wild freaking ride, because back in January, I had 10,000 followers. I'd had 10,000 for a couple of years. Um, and then just poof,
Yeah.
inauguration day, I started posting and it just went crazy.
Hmm.
And there's lots of stories of that with creators,
Yeah, it's very
just
similar
popping
for me.
off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I mostly popped off, like my big jump was in the election last year, where for 5 years I've been making semi-consistent every couple months videos, nothing crazy. But then, yeah, just I did an election video a couple months before the election, and then bam, 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 everyone's okay. Because
Mm-hmm.
it was very important. Everyone's very tuned in. I'm curious, do you ever feel that you are a slave to the algorithm where you're like, well, I have to talk about this?
Mm-hmm.
Because I very much don't like that, and I think the most I'll ever do any sort of algorithm play is maybe in a title or a thumbnail, but I won't like do a video just because I think it'll do well. I'll do it because I care about talking about it. And a good example of that is, I don't know if you know anything about this, but like a couple of days ago, there was all this streamer drama where people were talking about whether or not Hassan shocks his dog to make it stay in its bed, and I'm just like, there's a fucking fascist takeover. Who cares? I don't care. Like, this is so stupid. But if I wanted to make a bunch of money, I would go and I'd do the Hassan shock collar drama stream. So I'm curious, how have you explored and gone around that?
Mercedes talks about how she knows right when she makes the video if it's going to go viral or not. And I'm like, I don't have a fucking clue.
Hmm.
Like the things I think will do well, it's crickets. And then the things I'm like, oh, we'll see what this does. And it like takes off. So like I never have a freaking clue.
Yeah.
Um,
Not even I was gonna say sometimes you really know, where I did a emergency Charlie Kirk stream, and that's been my biggest stream to life, and it's like,
yes.
yep, that makes sense. Everyone's kind of wanting to
Yes.
hear what's going on.
I mean, honestly, those couple days after Charlie Kirk died, my shit went crazy.
Yeah.
And my Facebook exploded,
Hmm.
which I didn't have that on my bingo card. But I had made one like few weeks before his death. I broke down his rant against Jasmine Crockett. He was going off about Jasmine
Yeah,
Crockett.
I think you
And
tagged
so
me in that
like I
one. Yeah,
broke
I
that.
remember. Yeah, yeah.
I might have, yeah. And that one took off. That got like 2 point some million views on it.
Before September 10th.
No, after.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It had already done
But
well,
it
but
did
then
better.
but
Yes.
then it just went bam.
Yeah.
Um, so thank you, Charlie. Um,
No.
but
I mean, like, I as much as like I didn't like the guy, it is one of those
yeah,
like,
right.
yeah, like
Right.
there are weird like silver linings to horrible things. Like Donald Trump becomes president and I get more views on my channel. I'm like, cool. Would
Yeah.
I give up my popularity now to have a better country? 100%. I would
Yes.
rather earn it a little more organically, not because
Yes.
of the fascist takeover, but we do what we can. We make the best of the worst situations. So, yeah.
And I do think it's interesting, like you and I were talking in Colorado about our demographics, and obviously we have very different demographics because we're different age groups, and you're a streamer guy, you're probably a gamer guy, like, and I'm
What's that
just
mean? What are you trying to say? Do I look like a gamer? Are you
you're
stereotyping us?
well, you're a
We're an
streamer.
oppressed class, okay? No, you're right. You're 100% right. You're right. Yeah.
But
I was
and
probably
then
gaming in the car next to you on my
probably you
phone.
were
Well,
you were
yeah.
playing some little stupid game on your phone. Yes, you were.
Okay.
Busted. I was sitting behind you so I could see you playing it like freaking Angry Birds or some shit. I don't know.
Some stupid little Gen Z
Words
stimming
with
in the front
friends.
on his phone. Pretend to get upset. What do you mean I'm a gamer? Okay. Okay, I'm a
Can't what
gamer.
was that? Candy Crush.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, but then then there's me. I'm an older woman and I have a totally different demographic than you, and
Could you tell my audience, like, so I'm pretty sure I know, but like, what is your primary demographic? I think you read it to me, but like,
um it's like 70% female. Definitely like probably 35 plus.
okay, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which is like
Yep.
the exact polar opposite of mine, which is
Yes.
like 35 minus male, like 90%, I would say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. And we were just discussing how we have such different ways of creating content. Um,
Yeah, I was like when I would watch your reels, as like a brain broken, we already saw as me gaming in the car. Like if there is a half second of dead air, my brain will like invent a movie in my head so that I can
Yes.
make sure that's still stimulated. And like when you make content, it's like you're having a normal conversation, like which is what you
Right.
people used to do. And I'll
Right.
notice like,
Right.
wow, she
In
didn't cut off
yesteryear.
the end of her like breath at the end of the word the. Like, oh man, I'm bored for this 0.01 microsecond. And then like thinking about the like, oh my God, like what is wrong with my brain? Like how like
Right.
the itch I get when I haven't touched my phone in 4 seconds. But other than that, I mean the same content. Just editing style is definitely
Yeah.
different.
Mm-hmm.
You are far less brain rotted than I. And I guess
Yes.
that'll probably
Yes.
stay that way.
And actually that is one thing I've tried doing better at is cutting it more to get those pauses out because Mercedes talks a lot about that, like the millennial pause, which I'm not a millennial. I'm close to millennial, but I'm a Gen Xer.
Mhm.
Um, but getting rid of that millennial pause, and I'm like, yeah, even at my age, I click that upper right corner and watch at two times speed most of the content I
Oh,
watch.
okay. So you get it.
Um,
You get
I
it.
do get it, I'm like, oh my God, just get to the point.
I
Hit that
My dad
hit
had
that
an
fast button.
aneurysm because he heard me listening to an audiobook. And I didn't even realize this because like you can train your brain. You
Yes,
can't go from like 1
yes,
to 3. But like
absolutely.
one day
Yes.
you'll do 1.25 and like by the end of the week you're at like 3.25 and it does sound just like bugs. Like if you aren't trained to it and he's like what are you doing? Like what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like it's not like a brain age thing. Like older people can do it too. It's just younger people are so used to those dopamine hits that you have to
Yes.
give them the quick cuts and the flashy colors. Pretty much just turn your reels into like a slot machine. If they could
Mhm.
put gambling into a 4 second Instagram reel, I'm sure people would do it. Like, oh, will they say this word in the next half second? Oh, $50, like
Drink.
drink, yeah, drink if you hear the, yeah. But I'm curious then. So
Um,
you somehow reached this older women demographic, and you're an older woman, so it makes sense that like those people would
mhm.
feel seen and like what you're saying. But do you think that the way that you come at these topics, because I would guess like the editing itself is not like yes, like here's how you edit for older women, like that's not like a thing. There's not like a specific way. It's really generational, not even like sex demographic thing of just like, oh, younger people want those stims. But for
Yep.
older people, or specifically older, maybe Gen X millennial women, do you cater to that in a way, or does it just happen to be that you may think the same or have similar experiences?
I think it kind of happened. So in the beginning, when I very first started this, I just was doing reactions. So I was doing like a duet, right, with the
Yeah.
other person, and I was just reacting to it, pointing, laughing, nodding, whatever. And that's when I went, phew, I like took off. And then I kept getting all these DMs telling me, make your own fucking content, make your own original content. You're stealing people's content. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, people. So I started making my own. And lo and behold, people like that too.
Yeah.
Which is way more work, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Think instead of just looking at something going, uh-huh,
now I have
uh-huh.
to like write a
Hmm.
script and yeah. Um, but I think it's because I'm just very factual. Like I try not to ever diss the like let's just use Charlie because I stitched his content all day long. I never like went after Charlie himself. Like people in the comments would, oh, Mr. Gums, oh, Mr. Receding hairline, like whatever. Like I try not to ever go after somebody for their physical appearance or whatever. I just go after the talking point and I bring the facts. And that's all I do. I bring the facts. Um
You tell the truth.
and and yes. And so Monty Mater is someone that I loved following. I don't know if you know who she is.
No, I don't.
She has a huge following. Um, and she is a former conservative. She grew up Christian and she
Mm.
has left the church. And so she's super educated on any of the Bible stuff.
Yeah, wow.
And
Former
she
alt-right
just,
Christian nationalist even. So not just right wing, like she was
yes,
right wing. That's crazy. Yeah.
yes. And she's very alternative looking. She's always got different hair colors. She's got the septum ring, and those super long nails. Like she's just got this cool look to her. And she just fires out the facts and she fires back and she gets mad. And that she's sort of who I kind of started trying to emulate in a
Yeah.
way, just with my own personality. And I've actually had people comment, um, you're my Monty Mater or you're my
Aw.
Tiziant, which
That
Do you know
must
Tiziant?
no, but I was gonna say that's like the dream, right? Is
It's
like
such a huge
you are my
compliment.
hero the same way you have a
Yes.
hero. Like that's
Yes.
amazing. I love hearing stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was gonna say,
Tizian. Oh, go
what,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go.
After this is a Canadian standoff, and I'm gonna win it. So you go first.
Uh-oh. No, Tizian, his main gig is he puts people out there. Like if there's a video clip of someone harassing someone, he'll put it out there, and then the internet does its thing and figures out who the person is. That's what he's
Okay.
known for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't really do that, but
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, you just sparked this idea in my head of like haven't really considered this often, but like what inspired me when I was watching stuff on the internet and made me make the content I made. And
mhm,
it's interesting because I didn't get inspired by Gen Z people. Oh, obviously, because I'm like the cusp of Gen Z. I'm like the first year of Gen Z, if not the last year of millennial, depending on how you
mhm,
frame it. But I was watching Gen Xers make content, like video
mm,
essays from, do you know Red Letter Media? Maybe they do like movie stuff. So there's this whole series they did, and like it's not as snappy as Zoomer editing now, but it's very much like a deep, thoughtful, logical analysis, broken up into
mhm.
sections, tons of like absurd, edgy comedy. And then there's like, newer channels that are like a little younger, but like now those people that I used to watch, 30s, mid 30s, maybe early 40s. And none of that was Zoomer content. None of it was like the brain rot that you might see today. And although that brain rot has affected me and affected my editing now, that sort of comedy and logical analysis and all of that really did come from the older generation. So it's nice to see. I mean, now some of those people that I used to watch, Your Movie Sucks is another one, and I think he himself was influenced by Red Letter Media. I watched him growing up in high school. I loved his like movie analysis, and now people or like he's reached out to me and he's like, "Oh, I watch your content." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool, that's awesome." It's wild, like meeting people that like influenced like your whole shtick. So yeah,
Mhm.
that must feel great to like not only have influences but be compared to your influences. Like, yeah, that's great.
And every once in a while, why can't I think of his name? He does the marshmallows.
Mm,
So
this is
he
giving me a
he
brain blast, and I don't remember his name either.
he makes the marshmallows into like Trump and whoever, and then
Yeah,
he moves them around and they
I've
have a
seen
little
this guy.
skit.
Yeah,
I can't think of his name. Um, or the
it's called
character.
Marshmallow Man for now,
Yeah, we'll call him Marshmallow
because
Man.
I'm sure if someone
Um,
Google's that, they'll find it.
like he gave me life in the early stages of Trump. Like the skits were so hilarious. And then all of a sudden one day he messages me. He's like, "I just found you. I don't know how I didn't find you
Aw.
sooner. I love your content." And it's like, "Oh my God, I love your content." Like so the internet is super cool
Would
in
you say
that
it's
way.
small? I feel like the internet's smaller
Some
than I thought.
ways.
It's
Yeah.
wild to me. Like, I think starting around March or February this year, I just like would randomly go onto like the Twitter or a YouTube of someone that I watched all the time, and it's like this person follows you, and you're like, whoa, what? Like, how did what? And I went to
The
VidCon.
Drooby.
Yeah, I went to VidCon. The first person to ever notice me in real life was not just like some person who watched me. It was like a big YouTuber. It was like, oh, it's the soy pill. I watch your stuff, and I'm like, whoa, what? Like, it was very surreal, and
What?
it still is surreal. I guess maybe I'll get used to it eventually. But like, it feels like now I'm in like not in like the it's a club and you're not in it for rich people thing, but just like oh, everyone just kind of knows each other, and yeah, they don't all like each other, but it's definitely just like a very small group of people that do stuff and maybe it's my brain that's incapable of wrapping around large numbers, but it feels like wow, I just kind of like I'm 1 degree of separation from just everyone now. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I don't know someone, I could be like, hey, do you know this person? Do you have a connect to this person? And you'll just like run into random people at these events that we were at Colorado, and it's like, oh, yep, 400 million subscribers, 5 jillion subscribers. Oh, yep, that's the guy that does this stuff. Oh yeah, he knows the animator. Like it's super strange. I love it, but yeah, it's like everyone is connected in a good way.
So a few weeks ago, trying to think if it was before or after we went to CSU. I was texting Corey every day. So I would take screenshots. So when you have a lot of followers, you don't see all your notifications, right? So it tries to prioritize them for you.
I like how I don't see that. I don't have that
Uh,
Instagram problem yet, but maybe one day.
but like for days in a row, Cyndi Lauper liked my reel.
Ooh.
Molly Ringwald liked my
Ooh.
reel. Gabriella Carteris liked my reel. She was back in 90210 days.
Yeah.
Brooke Shields.
Okay.
Like, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like,
It's weird,
that
right?
is where the internet is really freaking cool because like Rosie O'Donnell started following me back in January. Like the Rosie
The
O'Donnell,
Rosie
like
O'Donnell.
it's just wild.
Yeah.
Like Oprah literally could see my stuff, you know? Um
But then,
so
there's the other side of the sword, right? Where you meet these people, especially the celebrities, and you're like, oh, you're just a guy, and like the illusion is shattered. And like I try to tell my audience that because they're like, what do you think about this thing? And it's like, look, I know that you want my opinion on this, and I'm happy you value my opinion. And I agree, maybe I'm more articulate than like the average person, but I'm just a guy, and you're just a guy, and I have no more value than you do. And once you meet these people in real life, celebrities or internet celebrities or whatever,
Mhm.
it is a little deflating where you're just like, oh yeah, you're not like a god of entertainment. You're just like a dude. And some, don't get me wrong, some of these people are like insanely talented, charismatic people, but it's still just like, oh, and you're just a person, and we could be friends, and we could go get lunch. I don't know. It's very, it's almost good in a way. I say it's the other end of the sword, but I do like that you realize that no one is more special than anyone else, and it really
Mhm.
does humble you, and it humbles other
They just
people.
have more
And
money.
yeah, they just have more money. Which, I mean, to be fair, rich people are better than poor people, obviously. I mean, let's be real. But but I like that it helps me interact with my fans. Where, I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes I've had a couple fan interactions where they're like, I didn't. It was weird because you just like came up to me and said hi and shook my hand, and I was just like very starstruck. I didn't know what to do, and you were just treating me normal. I was like, oh yeah, like, isn't that what everyone does? And I guess it's not.
Mhm.
And I guess also when you're a big celebrity, I can get when you get the weird stalkers and the
Yeah.
sycophants and all that. It's like, like I'm gonna, security take me
Yeah.
away. But it helps like my interactions with fans. I'm like, yeah, I'm just a guy. You're just a guy. Hey, nice to meet you. What's up? You want to grab coffee? Like, nothing special about any other person. If anything, you're probably better than other people because you watch me, which means you have better opinions.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, at CSU, I had quite a few people come up to me when we were out in the pavilion and say they followed me. And I was like, wow,
hmm,
you guys are college students. Like that's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Hey, it's not 100% over 35 women. It's
No,
just
no.
majority. Yeah.
Majority.
Yeah. No,
And in Tampa, I had somebody show up to the event because she followed me, and so she came up to say hi. So that was pretty cool.
yeah. Yeah, I had a couple people that I met that were like, "Oh, we came because you advertised this and we're in the area." And
Oh,
I'm like, "That
yep,
is super sweet."
yep.
And I
And
felt
that's
bad because one of them was the one who got like yelled at by that asshole in line. But yeah.
oh, the trans woman.
Yeah, she got
Yeah.
berated. She says
She
she took
she
it on
was
the nose. She was
pretty,
she was
yeah.
cool about it, but
I talked to her when we were out in the pavilion a little bit, and yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's I don't like that she has to know that that's what
Yeah,
happens.
she's
You know what I
expecting
mean?
it, you know? It's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
well, it happens to, don't worry, I get hate crimed and yelled at all the time. Don't worry about it. It's like, oh, okay. I'm
Yeah, she
happy
was
you're
just so like
taking this so
nonchalant
well.
about it. Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess
Yeah.
I guess she's had worse, but yeah, no, it is really awesome, like with all these connections, and I guess this is then my, can you teach me something? Is if I wanted to reach more millennial women, older or Gen X women, how would you say I should expand my channel, or do I just be myself, in the same way that you're being, and do the logical thing, and connect more, do more a Gen X millennial women podcasts, and the audiences will bleed into each other.
Sex sells, my friend.
I was like, please don't say OnlyFans. Please don't say OnlyFans. More, yeah.
You
Someone in my chat
have.
just said more workout videos.
No, we don't want to see the workout videos. We just want to
Hmm.
see you maybe with your shirt off or tight
Hmm.
pants or something. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
geez.
you're encroaching on the cougar territory there. So, hmm yep,
Okay, well, I guess
yeah.
I knew that answer, but
We
you've
want
just
the men
solidified
half our
it.
age.
By the
Yep.
way, this wasn't on purpose, but I don't know if you noticed, this is only audio for your team or no?
Well, we'll
Is
be on YouTube as well.
so my shirt, it's backwards, but it says full of microplastics, and I think that is very generationally relevant because you're the lead filled generation from all the leaded gasoline. I'm the microplastics generation. Who knows
Yeah.
what my kids and
Yeah.
my grandkids will have? Some new
And
radiation thing or
I was just gonna say my generation also, we put baby oil on to go lay out in the sun. So,
wait, that was
skin
a thing?
cancer.
Didn't that just
Oh
like
yeah.
double fry you to like
Yeah.
magnify the
It was
the sun
beautiful.
radiation?
Yes. We didn't
What
use
was the
sunscreen.
logic?
We didn't use sunscreen back then.
Well, you look great for having never used sunscreen. I mean, geez, but what was the logic back then? Like, did
Still
you
don't really use sunscreen. Like it's just so like I survived the 80s,
aren't
I
you in a
mean,
very sunny state too?
I'm in Arizona.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, I mean, at this point, I guess it doesn't matter. Like, if you got skin cancer or like melanoma now, it's like, yeah, whatever. What is it? Like, it's like a 40, 50 year. Well, I don't want to spread medical information. It's probably bad. Use sunscreen. Everyone use sunscreen. um, but yeah,
Uh,
no, it's
we have to have disclaimers.
I'm still a little taken aback. Like, what was the logic of what does the baby oil do? Does it give you a better tan?
Yeah. And then
Okay.
you'd have one of these like cardboard reflective things and you'd
Oh yes, I've seen
put it
those in
under
all of
you
the
to
'80s movies. Those
Yep.
sisters in the back with the mirror. She's like,
Yep.
"Don't talk to me, troublemaker
hmm
brother. I'm tanning."
Yep.
Yeah, but no, no. I'm sure there's don't. I mean, look, there's going to be research in 10, 20 years. Hey, turns out, phones and using them for more than 6 hours a day, like literally gives you degenerative brain disease or something. And I'm
These
gonna
little
like,
AirPods in my ears are,
yeah,
rotting my brain.
yeah, the AirPods, like the Bluetooth signal going in between your ears is frying your neural receptor. I'm sure there's gonna be something like that, but
I mean,
we can only
yeah.
learn and evolve, right? What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
we're sacrificing, okay? Right now, we're frying our brains to spread good messages, so it's for a good cause. We are the
yes.
brave frontline soldiers of the culture war.
uh, you know, but going back to politics, like how do we like get back on track? Like, is that even possible anymore? Like, there's such a divide. And I think, part of where the Unfuck America tour, part of what they're trying to do is get in-person discussions, right? And having debates. And I didn't agree with how Charlie debated. Charlie just talked as loud as he could and he'd talk over and cut the other person off and he had his same 10 talking points. And I mean, it wasn't a real debate. It was just him talking over you. I won. Move on. Next question. Um, but when we were in Tampa in particular, and we had our event that evening with Destiny, um, just we had like an hour because Destiny was being interviewed by CNN outside. We didn't realize that was going to interfere. So we started late and just having these one-on-one conversations with the people at our tables. And I was sitting with, and these are college students. I was at an entire table of alt-right Christian nationalists.
Okay. This is like, and this was on purpose, or you like one of those,
No,
like you
it's just
look
where
left
I
and
ended
right
up.
and you start to like listen to the conversation more, and you're like, wait a minute.
No, we just started talking and I was like, "Well, okay, so tell me a little bit more." I go, "I'm not here to debate you or argue with you. I want to hear your viewpoint." And they're so smug just in the way they like if you watch some of the videos on the CNN thing, they're in some of it and just the way they hold themselves and the smugness to them when they talk was just
Were
like,
were they the like the short side hair with the Richard Spencer kind of haircut and the suits, that kind of like white
"Yes."
nationalist? Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, you guys probably don't like women, huh?" And he's like, "Oh, we love women."
We
And I'm
treasure
like,
women. We
I
keep them
go,
at home, safe from the outside
yes. I
world.
go, "Oh, well, you don't want us to work or vote." And he's like, "Well, actually, we don't want anyone to vote. We want a monarchy." And I'm like, "Oh, dear God." Like, have you read the Constitution? Um, irrelevant, I guess.
So someone in my
Um,
chat said you should have asked, "Do you know any women?" Or is this the first time you've met one?
touche.
That is my favorite internet trope, by the way, is like these just horrible, and this isn't, exclusive to women, but these horrible alt-right, Christian nationalists, just racist, sexist, constantly like, I hate trans people, I hate gay people, I hate women, I hate black people, and then like the next post is like, why is everyone so mean to me, and it's really hard to find a date, and it's like, well, gee, motherfucker, I wonder why. Like, it's so funny every time.
What I don't understand in that like alt-right and even just in the MAGA, the trad wives, like, I mean, I guess there could be some appeal in being a trad wife and just staying home, not having to get a job, not having to go to college and just raising
Yeah.
your kids. Like, I guess I can see some appeal in that. Um,
And like, feminists say you should have the choice to do that, obviously.
yes,
It's not like
right.
you can't do this. It's just you shouldn't be forced to. And you have to understand that it has shortcomings. Like, hey, if you got a divorce 20 years after doing this, who knows? Like, you don't
You're
have career
fucked.
skills. You're kind of screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. So, but that doesn't mean it's a bad I would love to be a house husband. Are you kidding me? That sounds
Right?
amazing.
I
So,
mean, yeah. But like what they're trying to do is keep their women uneducated so they can't make their own decisions and their own choices. And like I actually had a friend like 20 years ago. She all of a sudden one day was like, "What the fuck am I doing?" Like she didn't have her own bank account, like everything was in his name, like, and she just woke up one day and was just like, how did I get here? You know? And that's what they're kind of intentionally doing. Um,
yeah.
have
Well,
you
yeah. And
seen
you see this
the
across the
shiny happy
planet.
people
The from
on Amazon?
REM?
No.
No. What's that?
It's so it's about the Duggart family. 16 going on 18 or something. They have like a gazillion
Oh,
kids.
yes, I've heard of these people before.
Yes.
Okay,
And
what
they
about these locked in? Yeah, this woman
yes.
was locked
And
into
so
this horrible marriage or what?
they purposely homeschool their kids to keep them at the girls particularly are kept at a fourth grade level.
Oh my God. Wait.
So they
So they
can't.
homeschool all the kids, but they specifically like keep the women at a lower education level? Oh my God.
Yep. And even the guys don't get that much more. And then so the Duggar family, the oldest son was accused of molesting his two sisters in the middle of the night. Um, and it's like they're not even allowed to kiss or hold hands until they're married. And it's like, well, of
Wow.
course he's curious. Like, what are these things growing on my sisters? Like if you don't let them learn about it, they're going to go try and figure it out on their own. Like that's
Yeah.
how our bodies are designed, you
Yeah,
know?
because like kids will be rebellious, and it's interesting because I had very earthy, crunchy, progressive parents in a lot of ways. So they started off kind of strict, and they were like only 30 minutes of television a day. But like by high school, they're like, look, if you do drugs or alcohol, you can do it in the house. If you ever need me, just call me. Like you just be
Here's a
safe.
box of condoms.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, here literally, Dad, first day of college, a tin of Costco, like
That
400
might have been too
condoms.
late,
Yeah,
but
I was like, Dad, I'm never gonna use a condom. Those are lame. No. But he, very progressive parents, right? And I rebelled in the sense of like, oh, maybe I disagree with your politics a little bit, or maybe I think you guys are being a little silly in this aspect, or maybe you nag me too much. But never was I like, oh, I'm going to drink because my parents don't want me to. In fact, because they introduced me to the concept of alcohol early, I was less worried about doing the alcohol as a rebellious thing and more just like, do I like it or not? Or like, is this enjoyable? And you look at the same with like, yeah, sex education, where you can't shield sex from your children. They will learn about it eventually. That's why you
our
try to give them
bodies
the
are
best.
designed for it. I
Yeah, so you got
mean,
to give them
there's
the
no
best.
escaping that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, yeah, you don't want 12-year-olds having sex, obviously, but you
Right.
want them to understand, like, hey, this is your body. There are people out there that might want to take advantage of that. This is how you stay away from those people. Once you're ready, once you're 15, 18, like if you're in high school with other high school people or whenever people are ready to lose their virginity, this is like the best and safest way to do it. This is how you understand consent. This is how you navigate like
Hmm.
the scary world of sex. And like if you don't do that, yeah, kids are going to go try to look for the answers wherever they can. And if you lock them in the house all day,
Yes.
you're gonna get some weird outcomes. So like just the evidence shows like, yeah, abstinence only, getting rid of sex ed, like it just doesn't work. And like these people don't get like, hey, if I lock my kids in a box, like I don't get it. How are they somehow like, finding all these crazy ideas? I haven't shown them any of them. It's like, turns out kids will find a way. So you probably just want to give them a good education.
You know, Colorado, I don't know, like maybe 10 years ago, had this amazing campaign. And they basically had billboards, ads, all the things about birth control, IUDs, free birth control. I think they had a free birth control initiative, and got women using IUDs
Hmm.
because, right, you one and done, you're good for 5, 10 years.
Yep.
Um, and their abortion rate drastically reduced.
Yeah, that's what's crazy is I think the strongest correlator for like direct correlator for reducing abortion is birth control and access to reproductive products
Hmm.
that are not not Plan B, not abortions that like are
Right.
any of those sort of things, like specifically IUDs, hormonal birth control, free condoms. Like people are gonna have sex. You look in the places with the abstinence only, never have sex until you're married, don't even hold hands, even this crazy draconian like. And guess what? Turns out high schoolers boink each other all the time. So
Yeah.
I would rather them do that in a way that reduces their pregnancy. And turns out
Hmm.
making abortion illegal doesn't make them boink any less. They just get pregnant and then hide their abortion or go to a different state or do some other crazy thing. And yeah, you just got to give them access to things that'll keep them safe. But,
Yeah.
I would say I would be so much more on board with the pro life people if they said, look, I believe abortion is awful and immoral, but here is comprehensive sex education. Here's birth control. Here's free condoms.
Yeah.
Here's a
They want
Planned Parenthood on
abstinence
every block.
only.
Yeah, just get rid of abstinence only. It's like, oh, okay. But they can't do that because the whole pro life movement is not about specifically the fetuses. It's about this policing of morality. Girls are
Hmm.
floozies.
Hmm.
Make them stop having sex. And like, in fact, sex
Keep
before
your
marriage
legs
is immoral. Keep your
closed.
legs closed. And it's like, okay, well, you have two completely incongruent positions. You are
And the
not
blame
reducing
is
abortions.
always on the woman. It is always the woman who is shamed. And it's like it's technically the guy who causes pregnancy, right? Like,
No.
so without you, there is no pregnancy. Um
There's this
and
big libbed up, talking point, but as cringe as people might find it, I still think it's great, which is if men could get pregnant, abortions would be legal everywhere immediately tomorrow. They fucking would, because that's why they
mhm,
have Viagra that's on your health insurance.
mhm.
That's why they have all these other things. But like the instant that it's somehow going to inconvenience a man, oh my god, please make a law for this. So it's just true.
Yep, it's very true. Yeah. And yeah, the whole abstinence only, like, it's proven to not be effective. So, I mean, like you said, high school kids are gonna boink. Like, it's just what they do. It's called hormones.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
that's what's weird to me is like I think I've heard one consistent person say this to me, and as silly as it is, it's at least it's consistent. And they told me it's not about what's effective, it's about my morals. And I'm like, okay, as long as you acknowledge that this is like the worst thing you could do if you want to reduce abortions and teen pregnancy, you just think people shouldn't have sex before marriage. All right, you're consistent. You just have to and then also acknowledge that it's a completely ineffective mindset and policy. But okay, you acknowledge
And
it.
how many, I mean, honestly, how many people actually don't have sex before marriage? Like, it's
Losers,
got
am
to
I
be a
right?
low number,
Every
you
virgin in
know?
my chat, you're a loser. No. Well, I think there's a surprisingly high amount of people that don't have sex, not necessarily before marriage, but like until a much later point in their life, like mid 20s, or
Yeah.
sometimes not ever. And
Sometimes not ever.
well, no, I'm serious. I mean, like some people just like never make those connections, and that number's increasing
Yeah.
as like
Yeah.
this is to tie it all back as people are in these more insulated communities, especially
Yes.
all as young men join these kind of weird like red pilly incelly movements, where it's like, oh, it's over for me. I can't find a girlfriend. So like I had my incelly quote unquote phase insofar as I think every teenage boy in high school starts going through puberty, doesn't really, was not raised to dress well, take care of their appearance, but now has all the hormones of, I want a woman. And it's like,
Yeah.
why don't they just want me intrinsically? Oh, it's because I don't put any effort in. And then you realize and you talk to more women and you're like, oh, okay, overcome XYZ. I can dress better. I can, do things that women learn a lot culturally from, when they're like 10 or 11 or even before that. And uh, the problem is now a lot of those people just get into these communities where like, no, actually, it is not your fault. It is the fault of society for not like saying that you're expected to have this. And then they just never have sex because they're like just in these communities that tell them, yep, don't change anything. It's over for you. And actually society's wrong and women are all floozies. And it's kind of sad. It's scary. So a lot of people just don't not have sex before marriage. They just don't have sex.
It's really interesting. So I did a experiment, let's just call it that. So for like back in January, I'm like, I'm just gonna get on the dating. So I tend to attract 25 to 35-year-old men.
Hmm. Okay.
I'm like, and I avoided it. I'm like, no. And I'm like, fuck it. What do I care? And so I started going out with these 25 to 35-year-olds, and they always said they wanted a more mature woman because she knows what she wants. She's independent. Then it turns out they don't really want that. Um, and then it turns out they don't have a fucking clue what they're doing. And so I was like, this is just fucking dystopian right here.
Would you say they were looking for like not a mom insofar as like, but someone who knows what they're doing and can take care of them because they're that like authority? Like I know, like I make money, I can cook, I take care of myself, and they like are with these women their age who are still figuring out life and getting jobs and like figuring out independence, and they're like, oh, push, I miss when I lived at home and I had a woman who knew what she was doing. Would you say
They
that was?
still live at home.
Okay. Well, okay, so you're not filling that void in their life. They still have their mom, I guess.
No, I honestly, in hindsight, I'm able to analyze this better. At the time, I couldn't figure it out. I think they wanted someone to teach them how to have sex. And
Oh,
I'm like, I'm too old to want to have to train someone. Like,
interesting.
yes. So fast forward to like a month or two ago, and I read this article about how not just men, just the entire age group, but more so men than women are having way less sex
Hmm.
than any other generation. They're like, not by a little bit,
Yeah.
by a lot. Like they're just not even having sex.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Because I was questioning as I'm dating these guys and they have zero conversational skills. Like, I
Mm.
mean, for me, foreplay is like, let's have a conversation and be able to talk about something, right? Like, no. But and I'm like, and I'm questioning, like, is this a side effect of COVID in isolation?
Oh, I
That's
think
where
that's
my mind
that's an
went.
accelerator for sure. It absolutely is. But that's the thing is COVID was only, I mean, technically it's still happening, but the lockdown stuff was only
Yeah.
2, 3 years. That might stunt some people. Let's say you started high school and then you finished high school during COVID. Yeah, that might mess with you a little bit. But I think it's just an accelerator of what we were talking about before, which is, they're already
Hmm.
more insulated. They're on the internet more. They're
Yes.
not going out and meeting people. And I
Hmm.
tell this to my
They
audience all the
still live with
time.
their parents.
Yeah, they still live with their parents, which, by the way, is not a huge shame necessarily if you're trying to save money or
No,
whatever.
no, I
But
agreed.
it depends on why you're doing it and if it's
Yes.
because you're incapable of becoming independent. Now, it is just harder economically for certain people. And in other cultures, it happens all the time. But what I've
Hmm.
noticed is the reason I have the confidence that I have now and the lack of insecurity now is not because I was born with it. It's not because of any intrinsic thing about my appearance. It's not because of how I dress. It's not because of money. It is because I've failed over and over and over and over. I've had failed relationships. I've had failed hitting on a woman. I've had people reject me. I've failed with friendships. I've failed in school. And then you learn and you're like, okay, that doesn't work. People don't like that. This is how you talk to people. And people aren't getting that. And COVID was a big part of that because you just do not have the interactions and you completely lack all of the body language learning that you would otherwise have in
Hmm.
person. But just
Hmm.
in general, people aren't getting it because they're on the internet all day and they're not going out and meeting people. They're not trying. So you get to 25, 35 and it's like, cool, time to go find my first girlfriend. And they're having the high school awkward dating phase with you, who is way past that.
I'm
So
way beyond that.
you're like, yeah, I've fucking been there, buddy. I don't want to do that again. And that's why I think you see, like, tying this back into politics. Oh, I want
Hmm.
women to be, in the, house and not out tempting other men. It's like, well, this almost always stems from this weird sexual anxiety, insecurity of you're not confident that you have what it takes to like deserve to be a partner. So like let's keep that away. Let's keep our women shielded, because once they realize like, oh, I'm a fucking loser who wants to shelter my woman away from the world so that she doesn't experience happiness other places, and she realizes I'm the only thing she has and I'm the best she'll ever get, then she'll know, and I'll be satisfied and I don't have to worry about, actually improving myself. So I do think it all stems from insecurity
Mm-hmm.
and weird stuff like that. And it sucks because I want people to realize that you shouldn't be scared of failure. If your
Yeah.
wife or your girlfriend or whoever, the person you're dating, doesn't matter what your gender is not interested in you, yeah, that sucks. That's going to be a horrible heartbreak. But realize either one, it's because you're not compatible, or two, well, there's a bunch of reasons to be fair, but two, it might be because you're just not what she's looking for, or you're doing something weird, and like you can say, well, that's not what I want, and you shouldn't be attracted to someone who doesn't want you. And if it's because of a reason that was intrinsic, like, hey, she hates that I like Star Wars, well, go fuck yourself. I love Star Wars. I don't want to date someone who doesn't like Star Wars. But if it's like, hey, you don't shower, you just smell bad all the time, and every time I tell you to do it, you tell me you're nagging me. Well, it's like, okay, well, there was a lesson of,
Yep.
hey, I realized I don't really take good care of my hygiene, or maybe I don't have interests that overlap with what this person wants, and that's a fair thing to break up over. And if it's something that's you're doing wrong, then you learn from that. And if it's something that she's doing wrong, you say, cool, not what I'm looking for. But that's how you learn, and that's how you get more secure of like
Mm-hmm.
who you are and who you want to be. And we're just not doing that anymore. Now we're just
So
getting comfortable online.
so I'll bring this full circle a little bit, and then I have something for you.
Yeah.
So so recently I've been dating a guy who actually is my age, which I was resisting. I didn't want to date my age group because they bring their own set of baggage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we are such polar freaking opposites on so many
Oh my
things.
God, tell me you're not dating a MAGA guy that you're trying to
No,
fix.
I'm not. I'm
Okay.
not. No. He's Republican, but he's not my guy. I
Okay,
know.
all right.
But
You buried the
but
lead there.
we can agree to disagree, and we just don't talk about things. And we've set
Mm,
boundaries on things we don't talk about. We respect those boundaries. We make each other laugh over other things, and like it has just been so eye-opening after not dating anyone for like 10 years
yeah.
and then dating the 25 to 35-year-old crowd, which was, like I said, a social experiment. And then now, like, coming full circle to this, and like we're both mature enough to know, like, this, it is what it is for right now, right?
Mhm.
Like, and 10 years ago I probably wouldn't have had that capability, you know. But tying it back to you and how you can reach your older millennial and Gen X audience
With my
is
clothes on.
just fine. Um is just like I said, sex sells, but some of that sex appeal, but that humor, and like having that touch of humor with sex, if that makes sense. Like, not self-deprecating, because that's not sexy.
Yeah, it's a very
Um,
millennial thing to just be like, I suck and I'm awful,
oh,
right?
oh
Yeah.
God, that self-deprecating humor. I mean, it's in all age groups. Like, I know men my age, and it's like, stop it. Like, it's not funny. Um, but yeah, just having that little bit of humor and that sex appeal, and like being able to talk about mature topics, um is so like I said earlier, like having a conversation is kind of foreplay for me. And like I did go on a date with this guy, and we have very matching political ideals, and like we were talking about feminism and my body my choice, and like I was just like, oh my God, I want to lick you, you know. And
You
like
dated the
so
performative male. That sounds awesome.
there's your 10 cent, my 10 cents for you. But
No, I think that's good. I think it's really I have what it takes. I just need to
it's that
put myself out there.
intellectual, like there's that intellectual piece that we want as when we're older. We like that 25 to 35 group, they can have it definitely, but not all of them have it. Not all of them have developed it yet. And so it's just that like intellectual piece,
Hmm.
and being able to have some humor with it. That's how you're gonna get your Gen Z cougars.
Okay.
Gen X, sorry,
Gen
not
X
Gen Z.
Cougars. All right. Well, hopefully some of them bleed over from this because, yeah, I'd say I did a humor. I did a humor or two here, I would hope.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, bringing it back to politics. I mean, that was politics, but
It is politics. Everything's political, to be
oh,
fair.
everything's political. Yeah, and life is political. Like people that say like, "Oh, I'm not into politics. Oh, I don't follow politics. Oh, I don't talk about politics." Well, what the fuck? Everything you do is related to politics. You get to vote because of politics. You get to wear pants because of feminism. Like it all circles back.
Yeah. And it's hard to explain that to people because everyone has very goldfish brain of just like, well,
Mm,
I voted for this guy and my life didn't immediately change, or I didn't see it, or the effects weren't directly downstream of that, so therefore I won't be tuned in. But it's so important to be like, hey, everything. I mean, I don't know how maybe they could teach this differently in history class because we
mm-hmm.
understand the events, but knowing like, and this is how it
Yes.
happened, right? From people like you who went and
Mm-hmm.
organized, or who went and advocated, or who went and marched. I don't think that's ever really hammered home in any of these lessons. It's just kind of like this series of events that happened. And then civil rights. And then this. It's never and then a bunch of people got really mad and decided we need to do something about this and they voted for this. I think that's so much more important because otherwise you just see everything on the scale of your day-to-day life. And, for the most part, that's how everyone votes. It's, hey, how are my egg prices? What are my gas prices? And that matters. But no
Mm.
one's really thinking long term,
What
like,
is the cost of eggs?
yeah, like, or am I voting a Stephen Miller adjacent person who wants to implement white nationalism in my country and like, yeah, keep women in the home? It's like, oh yeah, that can matter. And just because I voted for it in 2016, it didn't happen in 2018 or even until the end of the first term, does not mean that now we are laying the seeds and groundwork for it, and it's coming if we don't stop it. So I don't know how you get that through to people. I sometimes don't even think about it. So you really gotta teach long
Yeah,
term thinking to the children.
and I think a lot of people honestly just don't even know how politics work. And like what's the difference between the House and the Senate and how does a bill become law and what is an executive order and like I think people just don't even I mean, I don't think I learned that in high school. I mean, I know I had
You didn't
civics,
watch
but
Schoolhouse Rock?
yes, I love that movie.
That's how I know how a bill becomes law. And I want to say that reminds me. I don't know if you've ever seen American Dad, the like Family Guy like adjacent show with.
Yeah.
So there's an episode that I love, and they do a Schoolhouse Rock parody where they explain the Iran Contra affair and how Ronald Reagan committed treason. And of all the historical events that I ever have learned about, that is probably one that is burned into my memory because that song's so catchy and the colors are so memorable. And it's like maybe we should just start making cartoon songs for like adults
I
and
mean,
children.
South Park might just save us yet. I
Yeah,
mean,
to a certain degree. Like it as cringe as it is, it reminds me of, I'm sure you saw this, the kitty Democrat like TikTok that went viral. And it's like everyone's like, ah, cringe. They're like making it, for those of you who don't know, there's this TikTok trend of explaining things, and instead of using words, they use little kitties, and there's like an AI voice. So if it was like, I don't know, I see a lot for biology, and it's like, oh, COVID kitty explains like how spike proteins works. It's like, kitty proteins go into your body. Vaccines cause more spike proteins. The spike proteins stop the other bad kitty proteins, and it's like, okay, this is so stupid. Like, well, this is not how you need to explain this, but
but
that's
it
how everyone gets
is.
their information.
Yes.
So everyone gets it.
Yes.
So yeah, maybe South Park, maybe songs, maybe dumb little kitty memes. That's
Yes.
just unfortunately the way that most people are gonna get this stuff. And as idiocracy adjacent as it is, that's what you got to do. So, yep. I say more Schoolhouse Rock parodies. I say more
Mm-hmm.
kitty memes. Let's get
Yep.
those. Let's get those kids on
I
board with
absolutely.
politics.
I think that we need to really dumb it down and that might help some people understand it more.
Hmm.
Especially those more moderate people, right? Like I feel like your lefts and your rights, we already get it and we understand it and we're fighting for what we think is right. But those that it's that middle section.
Yeah. Well, those are the people who don't vote most of the time until something
Yeah.
really goes wrong. So if you get the kitty meme blast in your face, like, I'm going to lose my healthcare? My healthcare's going to go up by 75%? Whoa, I'm going to the voting booth right now.
What do you
But
mean illegal aliens don't get free healthcare?
yeah, we need to spread more kitty memes about how illegal aliens are not getting free metagame. That's probably pretty important because I still see people spreading that despite it just like
Oh,
they're literally posting pictures of the bill and you can just like, hey, you should read this part where nowhere in it is it granting healthcare to undocumented people. It's
I
Important that
mean,
you know that.
when Trump is out there saying that the president of Puerto Rico should be impeached.
Did he really say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Does he know he's the president?
I don't think he does. And I don't think his followers do either. Like I just did a whole reel this morning on Bad Bunny and people like we need someone with American values. And I'm like, he is a fucking American Puerto Rico. Oh my
Did you
God.
see? Did you see that TPUSA is having their counterculture halftime show
Oh
because they're like
God.
so mad that Bad Bunny's at the normal halftime show, they got
Yes.
to do their own.
Yes. Yes. They must continue capitalizing on Charlie Kirk's death
Yeah.
as long as they can.
This un-American Puerto Rican is going up there and he's going to speak Spanish, and I don't want to learn
Spanish.
Spanish.
Espanol.
Oh God.
And everybody's like, who is he? Nobody even knows who he is. And I'm like, he's like the second most known performer behind Taylor Swift right now. Like,
Yeah. And as
I
much as
mean,
I like Creed, they're like, well, why can't we put Creed back into the halftime show? And it's like, well, because they're not as popular. Like, that's
and
why.
and everybody's like, that's who TPUSA wanted to get
Oh yeah?
because they wanted a Christian.
Do
And
you,
Creed's like, we're not Christian. We're
do
not
you
a
know
Christian
why?
band.
Do you know why though? They picked Creed?
Why?
Because there's that viral, and this wasn't even a halftime show. This was like some July 4th, or not a Super Bowl. It was like a July 4th thing. But it's that Creed halftime show where they play higher, and there's a guy doing like aerial silks, and it was like, it's a good performance, but that was like a viral meme. So all these like just super terminally online Jack Prosobiec people see that, and they're like, this is the America that I miss, the post 9/11 Creed era, and
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 they
it's
don't
just
understand what that song means.
that, and also that it's like the mythical past of like fascism. Like you see the picket fence and the painting of like a happy white family, and you're like, that's what we need to go back to. And it's like, buddy, that was not like the ubiquitous like reality. Like Creed's halftime show is not the America, it's the
No.
halftime show. And other things were happening, like our country going to Iraq and killing a bunch of children. Like it was not all peaches and cream.
And I love when they use Madonna's like a prayer and you've got the church choir jamming
Did
out.
they
And I'm
did
like,
they do that? Do they know what that
oh my
song's about?
God. That's where I was going with that. They don't understand.
It's that one.
That's
It's
like,
Born in the USA, Bruce Springsteen. It's just like I have never listened and understood these lyrics. I just like that they said the word USA or prayer in it, and it's like, all right,
and
sure.
and like all these right-wing creators, I laugh when I stitch their stuff and the music that they have playing, like they'll have the Dixie Chicks. Well, the Chicks, sorry, they're no longer Dixie. Do you not understand the Chicks?
Well,
And
they tried
like
to
their
cancel
music
them. If you remember that, they were like they said something anti-Bush.
because of
That was
what
like
they
the
said
first
about
cancel
Bush.
culture thing I can
Yes,
remember of
they
my
were
lifetime.
absolutely canceled.
Yeah.
And then the whole country industry treated them like shit for
Yep.
years.
Yep. 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 And and
Hmm.
and now they're like, whoa, the left wing cancel culture. It's like you guys have been doing this for decades. Everyone does this to some extent. Everyone boycotts. Everyone gets upset. Don't pretend like this is a left right thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, those poor Dixie chicks. Are they just the chicks now? They don't because they don't want to be associated
Yeah.
with the
They took
Confederate.
Dixie off. Yeah. Um, and then like some of the other like they use Nirvana, they use Eminem, and it's like they are not on your team. Don't use their music.
Yeah, I think I almost made a video on this, and I don't have a coherent enough point for it, but it is really interesting, especially in the alt-right circles, how much media they appropriate for their image, where they're like, all right, here's a movie made by Jewish people, starring a diverse cast of actors, and has a message that is antithetical to my worldview, and I'm going to steal that, put up music that was also made by some diverse cast of people, and then put like swastikas all over it and be like, cool Nazi meme, and you're like, all right, dude, like you didn't create anything. You just stole a bunch of things from that would not exist if you got your way and used it for your own stupid propaganda.
Who was the artist that gave Trump a cease and desist for using their music at his rallies?
And you're gonna have to be more specific. I think the Village People did at some point, but then they kind of caved and said you can start using YMCA. So
I feel like was it? It might have been Born in the USA. I can't remember.
Springsteen probably did as well. There's
Yeah.
been a lot because he does
Hmm.
steal a lot of music. Also, this is maybe
Yeah.
super off topic, but someone has been spamming this in my chat, and they want to know what you think about. I think that a bill from Uruguay, the I think men be hod. I think men be how build, which is a make an LGBTQ no T rights drastically worse. They will not stop spamming this. I'm like, I don't know if she'll know about this. I've never heard of this. Have you heard of this?
I'm not sure I know what they're talking about, but are they talking about, because I do know there are a lot in the LGB community that don't want the T.
Yes. I mean, I think, yeah, the gays against groomer things or whatever. There's like, oh, well, where are the good ones? Like, get the T's out or whatever. Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
apparently that's a ubiquitous sentiment across countries that there's just the turfs of the LGBT, which is so funny because one, T is not new, and T's were at
No.
Stonewall fighting for gay rights, and it's so
Hmm.
funny that the people that they ally themselves with are like well, I want to get rid of gay marriage, and I also think homosexuality is degenerate, and I think the Supreme Court is like reconsidering a conversion therapy a law, right? And so it's like, well, I just want to cut off these, but we'll stop there, right, guys? Right? And it's like, no, you are actively fighting for your rights to be taken away too. You just don't realize it. So that's
Yeah,
very frustrating.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the whole trans thing, it's like women have already been sharing the bathroom with trans women and just don't fucking know it. So, like,
What's so crazy is like
I-
the way that it's portrayed in right wing media is like, yep, trans women that are pre-op, they go in the women's bathroom, they drop trow and they just start swinging it all around on the sink and just beating people in the face with it. It's like, no, actually they just go in the stall and they pee and then they leave, and most people don't even fucking notice.
well,
And it's
and
like, what do
most of
you?
them
And
sit
also, what is
down.
your bill gonna do? You want the penis inspector at every fucking like thing? Like, excuse me, I need to check to see if you what your genitals are. Let me just give you a little TSA feel down here. It's like, how do you see this playing out?
Yeah,
At least
it's stupid.
they've dropped that, and now they're just like, no, I just want to eradicate transgenderism. It's like, okay, cool, we could stop having the illogical bathroom debate, and you've exposed your real beliefs, which is I want these people not to exist. So silver lining of them being more bigoted is we don't have to have the stupid I'm being coy about my real beliefs argument.
Yeah, yeah. They're just throwing it all right out there.
I think that's my one white pill optimism thing of this whole situation is as we see, people are being radicalized. We are getting more bigoted beliefs. I'd never thought I'd see like the mainstream white nationalist talking points, just where the
Mm.
vice president is up there saying, we are being invaded by Mexico, which is just insane. But when they really show who they are, when you see ICE just like ripping these people away from their families and they're screaming and the kids are crying and they're breaking windows and pointing guns at children, most people see that. Most normies, as much as that has been used derogatorily, most normies see that and they're like, what the fuck? This is awful. They're not politically tuned in. They just see that and they have like the slightest bit of empathy and they're like, no, this is stupid. I want the opposite of what this is. So I really do think this is going to bite them in the foot in the long run because they got happy about it. They're like, cool, I can be myself. And it's like, oh, turns out everyone hates you.
And like ICE is such a good example of like how are we okay with the way they've been operating? Like, okay, I can understand we want to try to remove folks because most illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants, it's their visas have expired. That's like the vast
Yeah,
majority
it's
of
like
them.
overstayed. Yeah, yeah.
Right. But like okay, let's say we want to try and take care of that. There's better ways to do it than just abducting them from the fucking courtrooms or on their way to the courtrooms
That's
or
what's so
from their
crazy.
place of work. Like,
They're doing the system the way that you want. Well, to be fair, they want to deport all of them. That's why they ran on mass deportations. But it's so crazy to me because when this whole Hannah Dugan case happened, it's like if you go to the courtrooms and arrest them just because you know they're going to be there, what you've done is now told every other person who would otherwise have tried to participate in the legal system, hey, if you go do this the right way, if you show up for your court date, we're going to deport you. Even if that's not what the order that the judge would have given. So don't do that anymore. And it's like, the same with the abortion and the abstinence only thing is like if you want even to get rid of more of these people, you're even doing that wrong. So you're so incompetent in your own fascism that you can't even accomplish your own goals correctly, which is like thank God we have been granted God's grace of the stupidest enemies that continuously trip over their own feet.
so when I came back from Tampa, I had an 8-hour layover at the Phoenix airport. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm gonna take an Uber. Um, And so I currently live about 20 miles from the Mexican border.
Okay.
And so there are border patrol stops, checkpoints. Sometimes they're open, sometimes they're not. My Uber driver was Indian, like from India. And when he realized where he was taking me, because if you're within 100 miles of the border, they can pull you over at any time, where Phoenix is far enough out of that circle. Um, and he was like, are there checkpoints? And I'm like, well, they're usually not open because they're usually not open. Um, and he's like, I need to make sure I have my visa papers with me. And so he like rifled through his glove box and he found them and everything. And I'm like, but that's like the reality,
Yeah, he's
right?
just used to getting
Like,
profiled for not being white.
hmm
Even though he's
yep,
completely legal, he's got a job, he's doing it the right way,
yep,
and it's just like, oh, cool, my daily dose of harassment from government.
hmm
Oh
yep.
man,
And I
are those
mean,
checkpoints right now? Are they shut? I don't know how ICE is operating under the shutdown. Actually, I know they're still doing stuff, but like, are they in a limited capacity, or are they just not getting paid because they're doing it on good moral? You know, I don't do it for the money. I do it because I just hate immigrants so much.
the checkpoints have been closed since I've been down here, and that's been since June. But the border patrol trucks are everywhere. You see them everywhere.
Hmm. Okay.
So,
Yeah, they're still doing. I mean, yeah, I get a new clip like every day. Some stupid, just horribly bumbling, incompetent
well,
goon.
and border patrol is not to be confused with ICE, but
Yeah,
but
same monster,
I
different
know, I
facility.
know. And like, you know, like I told my driver, I'm like, you're not the profile that we're looking for.
I don't.
So,
Hey, I don't know, man. I mean, they're like we said, they're
I don't know.
horribly
You're right.
incompetent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, Soy, this has been a great conversation.
Yeah,
We
this
should
is
probably wrap it
fantastic.
up. Yeah, this has been really great. I want to make sure people know how to find you.
Yeah,
You're kind of on
so
all the socials as the Soy Pill.
all the socials as a soy pill. My primary thing is YouTube video essays. So if you like sort of not long form, but 15 to 40-minute deep topics, like I would say surface to slightly lower than surface level dives. I do that, but I also stream. This is streaming right now, so my viewers have enjoyed this a lot. I am on all the platforms I don't like Instagram and TikTok, and I make shorts and I hate them. But that's a
Yeah.
thing that you do now. And yeah, so if those people are interested in hearing more of my opinions, oh, do I have so many of them?
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. This has been great. Thanks for live streaming it. This has been cool. That's a new experience for me. So
Yeah. Oh, and my viewers can find you. I've linked your Instagram in the description. And do you do other stuff as well? Are you like branching into YouTube and that sort of thing, or are you just kind
I'm
of more of
on
a?
YouTube. Yep, I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok, Facebook. Yeah, I'm on all the places. But I'd say my main platform's probably Instagram for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, guys, check it out. It's in the description. She's making the good content. And if you're not brain rotted enough, you can put it in 2 times speed.
Yes,
So,
watch it in two time. I sound like a chipmunk.
well, great talking with you, Amy, and I'll probably see you at the next UFA stop, depending on when that
Absolutely.
is. So,
Yeah.
all right.
All right.
Ciao,
And so
ciao.
that's a wrap for this episode of Unfiltered Dissent. If today's conversation resonated with you, be sure to like and share this episode and subscribe so that you never miss an update. If you'd like to support the show and help amplify more dissent, join me over on Patreon. And your support helps keep these conversations unfiltered and unapologetic. And of course, if you'd like to help support us and the Unfuck America tour, please use the Act Blue link in my show notes because it truly takes a village to help support a tour like this. So until next time, stay bold, stay loud, and never stop questioning the narrative because when we speak up, we don't just resist, we create change.